Hello, guys, and welcome to this new live. Today, Tuesday, November the 9th, 2021. We're starting this live. I guess, unfortunately, it's not a time where everybody can watch the live. It's 5 p.m. here in Morocco. Most people are still at work or at school. So for most of you, they're going to be watching the live after it's saved. So tonight or this evening, we've got a very special guest again to answer your questions and to speak about the topic I announced in the story, which is problems related or mistakes to avoid when learning English. So I have today Mayu. She's a non-native English teacher from Colombia. She's a very passionate teacher about learning English. So I guess Mayu is already here. Let's get started. Live here. So let's see if Mayu is already here. Okay, invite your friends, and don't worry if you don't have time to watch it today, because it's going to be saved. And hello.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here. How you doing?
Thank you. Thank you so much for accepting to be with me in this live streaming. So delightful to have you here. I'm doing well. How are you? How about you?
Great, excited, a little nervous as usual. People
Yeah.
might think that going live is just easy peasy, but sometimes I do get nervous.
Yes,
How
it's
about you?
confusing. Yeah, it's confusing to know that there are many people watching you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you've been live before. You've done other lives before.
Yeah, I have,
Yeah.
but I still
Yeah.
get the nerves,
Of course. Yes, everybody does. And the same thing for me. Like I've done like tens of lives, but still you feel this stress before you go into the live. So Mayu, would like to start as usual with you telling us about yourself. Who's Mayu? What do you do? Where do you came from? Yes, we
Okay,
want to know more about
perfect.
you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm Mayu. My name is actually Marjulie,
Yes, it's
but
a Colombian name, Spanish name, I guess.
yeah, it's a Venezuelan name actually, because in
Yes.
Colombia, I don't think anybody is named Mayu or
Yeah, yes.
Marjulie for that
Mm-hmm.
matter. But I'm from Venezuela.
You're
I'm
originally
from
from Venezuela, not from Colombia
Yes,
originally.
I'm originally
Mm-hmm.
from Venezuela, but because of the political situation there, we
Mm-hmm.
had to come here to Colombia. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
very excited to be here. I actually really like Colombia. I think is not too far from Venezuelan culture. It's very
Mm-hmm.
similar, and I really love it. I'm also a nurse. I am an English
Yes.
teacher, but I am a nurse as well. Yes, that's one
So
of
you're
my passions.
full-time nurse? You're a full-time
No,
nurse?
no, not at all. I
Yeah.
don't practice at all. I love
Mm-hmm.
teaching English, and that's what I do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, I'm passionate about teaching English because I think it goes way beyond just teaching some grammar structures or pronunciation tips or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's a transformational journey that people go through because it's facing your
Mm-hmm.
fears, it's exposing
Yes.
yourself to new things. It means a lot. It's a bunch of things. It's actually being able to reach those dreams that you have, that dream job that you have, because now you have this tool. So actually, for me, teaching English is a passion because I get to help people. I really like helping
Uh-huh.
people. And
Yeah.
as you all know, like in Venezuela, Colombia, we don't speak English. We speak Spanish as our
Yeah.
first language. So
But you do
having
learn English as a second language at
we
school? No?
do. Yeah, we do. We learned as a second language. I have to say that I wish education was better regarding those topics, but we're making
Hmm.
improvement, and that's great. But we know the struggles of an English learner because we've been through them ourselves. So
Hmm.
I think that's a plus for non-native teachers. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's
because a
basically
non-native, yeah, a non-native teacher goes through all the pain and the suffering of learning the language. Not like someone who's native, he's just like he's speaking the language already, so he doesn't sometimes understand what the
yeah, it's
learner's
not
like going
quite
through.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's a plus for non-native.
absolutely.
Unfortunately, like in the world, in many countries, I guess in Europe and even in Asia, they have preference for native English teachers, which is not, you know, not
Yeah,
reasonable as, yeah. So
absolutely.
anyone
I
can,
completely get it. Hmm.
yeah. So Mayu, to tell us about people in Colombia and Venezuela. Do they like to learn English? Do you have English language, like a language that is used sometimes on TV,
Not at
maybe, or
all.
officially? No?
Well,
Official
no.
language is Spanish, I guess.
Yeah, it's Spanish, and
Uh,
well, let me make one thing clear. Like we do learn English at school. It's a language that we absolutely have to learn because it's important for society and for the world in general.
mhm.
But we don't have a very good system implied so that put in place so that we can actually effectively learn English. So there are many jobs here that require you to have English as a C1, B2, like very high levels of English. There are
Yeah,
jobs where you have to use it, but and of course those are the jobs that pay that give you a better pay, right?
that are well
Um,
paid, yeah.
exactly. So sometimes in TV we do watch things that are in English, but always things are
Hmm.
with subtitles um, or not even subtitles. They're even in Spanish. They're translated into Spanish, and that's they use Spanish voices and everything because it's not
Hmm.
official. People here learn because it's a necessity. Because
Hmm.
actually, we're very close to the United States, so everything related to the
Yes.
American culture is
Hmm.
very near to us. So everything Hollywood, we all watch those movies, and
Yes,
we are very,
absolutely.
that has become part of our culture. But to be
Yeah,
completely
now English,
honest,
like all around the world, English has become an international language and people are learning it. More people want to learn English, which is pretty amazing. I like this
exactly.
idea that the world wants to use, I don't care if it's English or another language, but it's amazing to have people agree on one language that they use. I think English may be an example because maybe if you go to a foreign, another Asian country or Arabic country or wherever you go, at least you may find one or two people speaking English, but it's difficult to find
Yes.
people speaking Spanish in Asia or in other parts of
Of
the world.
course. Of
Yeah,
course. So you need to learn English. And I think that
yeah.
that's the beauty of English, that there's like a Spanish English. Like if you're a Spanish speaker, then you have your own accent and you bring your own, your own
Hmm.
thing to the English language. So that's
Intonation, yeah,
exactly. And I
sounds,
think that that's part of
yeah,
it. That's the beauty of English. This universal
yeah.
language. That's what we use.
Mm.
Where are you right now? I heard you say Morocco.
Yeah, Morocco, yes.
So what's your official language there?
Well, let me tell you first about myself. Well, my name is
Yeah.
Abdul Razak. I don't know how it's, my name is difficult a
Abdurrasak.
little. Yes. I'm amazed you could pronounce it.
Yeah, because we have the
You did well.
r in Spanish.
Ah, you have Ra. Yes, that's it. That's it. Yeah. So, as I said, I'm 28 years old, turning 29 very soon, and I teach English in an official school here in Morocco. Teach I teach teenagers, and I love to teach English to adults, to anyone who wants to learn English, especially working on communication skills, speaking skills, improving people's skills. I have private classes. I teach people like to speak English without fear, which I like to call it. So I like also to create some content on Facebook, sometimes on Instagram, share what I know, some tips, and also the thing I'm doing now, which is inviting teachers from all around the world. I don't know if you've been through my profile. I've invited many other teachers talking about the same thing, which is learning English. In Morocco, back to your question, the official language, or the language we speak in Morocco, is Arabic. Of course, it's an Arabic country. You know, Morocco is situated like very, I guess it's the closest country or Arabic country to Europe. Like we're just 14 kilometers far from Spain. We're so close to
Wow.
Spain. Yes, we're so close. Like it's just the Mediterranean Sea, and there is Spain, like just 14 or 15 kilometers, and that's it. This is Spain. So we're very close to Spain. Many people in Morocco speak Spanish. Uh, you know,
Wow, of course,
yeah,
because of
many
the
people,
closeness. Mhm.
especially in the north. Yeah, especially in the north, because they're more close to Spain. So many people there speak Spanish and learn Spanish, and there has been Spanish colonization to the country, which affect like we broadcast on our official TV still until now. We broadcast Spanish news.
Wow.
Yes, until now we have Spanish news every day. Some people learn Spanish as a third language because the second language in Morocco is French. So
Wow.
French,
So no
yes.
English?
I think English comes third in our country. People learn English, and actually, children start to learn English at the age of 14, I guess, 14 or 15. Yes, 14 or 15. We start learning English from in school. Which is pretty late. But you know, people here, they love to learn English, and as I said, it's everywhere in the world. More people want to learn English and to master it, not just to understand. I see now people in most of the questions I got from people who messages me, like they say, I don't want just to understand anymore. I want to be able to speak, to express myself, which is pretty amazing. People, they want to contribute, they want to communicate, not just to
Mm,
listen and understand. You know, they're sick of just watching movies, understanding. That's not enough.
absolutely.
Yeah. And by the way, this is one of the questions I get, and I want your opinion about it. Like, people are complaining about this. They say, we are like great when it comes to understanding and being able to comprehend all the ideas someone is saying, even if sometimes the native speaker speaks very fast, we are able to understand. But the problem is when we want to speak, we get stuck, no ideas, no words. So what do you think about this?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you my take on this.
Yes.
So look, there's a thing, and I want to explain and go a little further here so everyone can
Mm-hmm.
understand. So there are
Mm-hmm.
two types of knowledge or vocabulary that you may have of a language.
Mm-hmm.
One is the one that you're able to grasp and understand. And it doesn't mean that you know how to use it, and it doesn't mean that
Mm-hmm.
you know how, that you know to use every single word the other person is saying and structure the ideas just as the person is saying them. But you understand the general context, you understand the idea, you can even understand perfectly what they're saying. And there's another one,
Yes.
which is more related to what you're able to produce in that language. Okay.
Yes.
So when you watch a TV series, when you listen to somebody speaking, when you, I don't know, go and search for a tech talk or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you're receiving language. That's input, right?
Yes. Yes.
And you're trying to make connections in your brain to understand what's happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you don't get what a word means, but you get the idea because of the context. And that
Yes.
word gets in your head, but not as a word that you can actually use right now, but a
Yeah.
word that you need to get to know a little better so that
But
you
you
can
mean you
actually
get
use
it?
it.
You mean you get it like passively? You don't feel that you're learning it.
Exactly.
Yes.
You don't feel that
Mm-hmm.
you're learning it, but you're learning. Like
Yes.
I kind of, and that's the reason why sometimes, and this
Mm-hmm.
is my answer to your question. that at times you may feel that you understand a lot, but you're not able to produce a lot. And it is related to having a lot of input, but not enough output. It is
Mm-hmm.
related to reading a lot, listening a lot, but not trying to engage in conversation, not trying to generate your own ideas, to structure your own
Mm-hmm.
ideas. So that's one problem. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
it is wrong to listen or to watch things. I love
No,
it.
it's
That's actually
useful,
one of
of
the
course.
things. Yeah, of course it's
Yes.
useful.
As
But
the
you gotta
beginning,
go,
like,
but that's exactly how you said. That's the
yeah, yeah,
beginning. Then there
yeah.
needs to be an extra effort. So I'm gonna give you an
Mm-hmm.
example here. Um,
Yes.
so recently I was traveling and I was on a plane for a long time and I was like, okay, so what should I do? And I started watching a movie. But I watched a movie and my intention with the movie was to get some new vocabulary and to notice some phrases and expressions that maybe I know that I've heard before, but that I
Mm-hmm.
haven't looked up or that could be a good use for, I don't know, my Instagram posts or for my students. And I started to make a long list of
Mm-hmm.
expressions and things. Why?
Interesting.
Because you kind of want to make it like an not only passive but active knowledge that you have in your mind. You want to be
Yes.
aware of the words. You
Mm-hmm.
want to be aware of the intonation. You want to be aware of where are they using these words, in what context are they using it. So I guess that watching TV series and all this, it's a beginning, yes, and it's great because that's an
Mm-hmm.
ability to listen, right? But you also,
Yeah.
if you want to produce language, then you got to make a little effort. If you don't do that
Yes.
extra effort, then unfortunately you're not going to be able to produce language and you're always going to feel frustrated because
Yeah.
the frustration comes with like, I cannot believe that I understand everything they're saying, but I'm not able to produce exactly what I want to say. I'm not able
Yes.
to say exactly what I want to say. I keep mumbling or whatever. Accuracy comes with not only with exposure, but with
Mm-hmm.
practice, with digging into the
Yeah.
words. And okay, so I'm showing you this list, but it doesn't mean that you have to make a long list of 30 words. It's not possible. I know these phrases already. These are not new for me. I was just
Yes.
trying to refresh some vocabulary. But if the expressions are new for you, then you cannot just make a list of 30 words and try to memorize them. It's not going to
Yes.
work.
Yeah.
So I
Because
think that this is a
sometimes
very
you
long
know.
explanation, but yeah.
Yeah, I see. But the idea is pretty clear because sometimes you have certain expressions or you learn some expressions actively, and I want to put a line under this word actively because you make an effort and you try sometimes to memorize 10. Some people they go like this actually, and it's pretty interesting. I wouldn't like advise people not to do it, but
Me neither.
sometimes it works. Like 10 vocabulary a day or 5 vocabulary a day. It may work for some people, but to learn those vocabulary, you will end up not using all of them. This is the problem. You will use only some of them. The others you know them. If you see them, you will know them. If you hear someone using those vocabulary, you can recognize them. But to be able to use them when you speak, they're not there.
No,
Just yeah,
they're not
it's like
there.
they're
Yeah.
yours, but not yours.
Exactly. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
That's lovely. That's how I would put it. Yeah, they're yours, but they're not yours.
yeah.
And what we're aiming for is to have an English that feels like yours, that is
Yeah.
yours.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of struggle with people who want to like memorize a long list of words because it can lead to frustration because you
Yeah.
have all this vocabulary there, but you don't know how to use it. So
Yes.
why do I even have it there in the first place if I'm not able to use it, if I cannot use it in a conversation? So it can lead to
Yeah.
frustration because you say, so I memorized all these words and how is it that I am not able to produce them? But it's not a problem of you not being able to produce that, is that the human brain is not able to do it. Like you need
Yes.
to know and understand a word. How does it work? In what context? What's the intonation? How does it change when it's within a sentence? And that is
Mm-hmm.
to getting to know a word. And then you will feel free to use it. But only
Yeah.
after you have that you know it in a deep sense, you know, not just like, oh, I heard and I looked at, and I just wrote down the what it is, and
Mm-hmm.
it's the only example, the only exposure that I have to that word. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not a you problem. It's a brain
Yes.
issue. We like
Yes.
all our brains work like that. Don't focus on, oh, it's just me and poor me. No, it's not just you.
Yes, yes, yes. You know, it's like there is like a key to this, which I like to call it, which is repetition. Our minds, they respond
Exactly.
to repetition. You sometimes you learn a word, but you keep it like words, and what we learn, our brain doesn't store things like you know, like you put it in a bag or something. Your brain, he needs to know that he needs to differentiate between what is useful and what's not useful. You will learn a word, it will go like this. You have it. But is it useful for your brain? If you keep repeating it each time you speak, or if you put it in a sentence each time you speak, you will have it here in your brain and not here, which is what we need. So the more you practice these
Exactly.
words you're learning, the more they're going to be here, and your brain will understand that these words are useful. So let's put them in the active place and not just keep them in the conscious. Like that's it.
Exactly. Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes, yes. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. I 100% agree with you. We see eye to eye on this matter
yeah. That's
because
how our brain works.
exactly. And I just hate
Yeah,
the fact when people and students come to me and they tell me, like, but I've memorized all these words and why is it that I cannot use them? The problem is that exactly as you're saying, you have to tell your brain that this word is important, that
yeah,
it's useful, that it matters to you, that you need to have it readily available for you to use. And the only way for you to
yeah,
do that is giving it more time. So it means repetition, it means using it. Dare to use it
yeah.
even when you make mistakes, because that's the reality of it. You make many
Hmm.
mistakes before getting it right. But it's part of the process. It's part of the
Yes.
process.
Yeah, you know, I would like to put this into practice, and to people are asking now, are wondering, let's put this into practice. We know that the key to master a language, to get better at speaking, is speaking itself, is using the language, trying to make an effort using the language. But people are complaining, like in Colombia, in my country, there aren't many people who speaks English. So it's difficult for people now, or for learners, to find someone at home speaking English to practice with, or someone at work, or a classmate. So it's a bit hard. How can we find partners to practice with? This is the question I usually get. Is
Okay,
there
so
any something we can do? Create
well, that
someone?
yeah, I think that that's a funny question. I mean, why? Because whenever there's a saying in Spanish that goes like this, like whenever you want to kiss someone, you look for the mouth. Like whatever you want to
You look for the
do,
mouse.
yeah, for the mouth,
Why?
because you want to kiss. So if you want to kiss
Ah, yes.
somebody,
You
you
look
look
from
for
your
the
mouth,
mouth.
not from your. Ah, yes, I
Exactly.
see
So
it.
you look for other.
Hi. Was it
Hey, I'm
your?
sorry. I think it
Was
was
it your or was mine?
mine. I
Yeah,
think it was.
it's it was mine as well, I guess. Not sure about this. That's reconnecting, and then it stopped.
Yes, same
Yeah.
happened to
So
me.
we were talking about this problem of finding someone to speak to, finding a speaking partner.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
so to me, like it's not difficult to find somebody to talk to
Mhm.
right now. Nowadays, it's not difficult. If you were to tell me, oh no, like 20 years ago, different story. But right now, you can find people to talk to. That's the truth.
Yes. So there is the internet now.
No.
There is the internet. Like, is it breaking? I guess it's fine for me.
No, it's fine now.
It's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks God. Yeah. So, we want to talk about, since our topic is like the things we should avoid when we learn English. Like when finding a speaking partner. In your opinion, should this speaking partner should it be like someone who's better than us in the language proficiency? Or we can choose someone who's like, we're beginners. Should we speak to a beginner as well? Or we should speak to someone who's a little bit advanced, more advanced than us?
I guess it depends on your goal. I'd like to think
Hmm.
of speaking partners as making friends. So if you want to make a
Uh,
friend, you don't just ask them like,
Spontaneous conversations.
exactly, you want to have a
Hmm.
conversation, you want to get to know the person. So instead of just focusing on what's in it for me, You know, like I want to learn English, so that's why I want somebody who has a higher level of English. Instead of
Hmm.
focusing on that, just try to connect, try to make real connections. You know, it'd be lovely if I get to visit Morocco and I see you there. You know, it's
Yes.
just
Yeah, we can
try to
speak, and yeah.
exactly try to connect. Like
Hmm.
I didn't even ask myself like, is what's his English level? Should we connect? And no, it's just it's great. We're both teachers and we want to talk about things that matter to students. So let's do it. So
Hmm.
I guess that the right approach for me would be try to connect with other people, um, and don't take it as I want to practice and I want somebody to let me know of my mistakes or whatever. No, make it more as
Yes.
an experience to learn about the other person, to get to know another person, to be in a real conversation in English, trying to put
Yes.
all my abilities to use. And sometimes that might lead to you trying to explain a word that you don't know how to say, and maybe the other person is in a
Hmm.
lower level and they don't
Yeah.
quite grasp your idea yet, and then you have to use other skills of yours, like
Yes.
I don't know, rephrasing,
Yeah.
describing, and
Say
that's
it in
great
another
too.
way. Yeah. You know,
Exactly.
related to this, what do you think about those who only wants to learn or wants to practice speaking with a native speaker? Or even when they choose a tutor, a personal tutor, they say, well, I can pay more money if I can get a native speaker, while he can get a native speaker, but not a great tutor. See what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, absolutely.
not everyone who's of course there are great native teachers. We can't deny it, but still, people they pay too much money on finding partners, speaking partners that are foreigner, that are native. What do you think about this? Is it
Mhm.
really important? Does it help?
Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, so this is a difficult, no, it's not a difficult question. It's a question
Hmm.
with an easy answer. My answer
Yeah.
is English is a global language. So why would it matter to have a native speaker of English? I don't grasp it. I don't understand it. It seems to me like if you're only looking for a native speaker of English, because I've had those students have approached me like, "Oh, are you a native speaker of English?" I'm like, "I'm not."
You know, by the way,
I
someone is saying in the comments, someone is saying in the comments, but it comes to pronunciation, your pronunciation is 100 great. When I look at you, Mayu, from Colombia, your native language is Spanish. I see someone who has a great mastery of the language. So what's it? What
yeah, like I
does a
don't know
native
the
speaker
fuzz.
have? Yeah.
Yeah, and there are a
Mm,
few things that I'd like to say to the people who believe that it's absolutely necessary to have an English teacher that's a native speaker of English.
mm-hmm.
Number one, I understand where they come from because we were taught like that. At least in Colombia, that's how we were taught. Like, if your teacher is a native speaker of a language, then you have a better chance of learning English for
Yeah.
some reason that we don't get, and it's not
And
backed
you
up
will
with
learn, it's
science.
like you will learn another English of native speakers. It's like non-native speakers, they don't
It's
speak
like a
English,
better
they speak
English, you
another
know?
language. Yeah, a
Exactly.
fancy
So
one.
it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any
You know, it's
sense.
I think it's a global stereotype. It has also to do with it includes, I'm not sure about this if you agree or not, it includes some racism as well.
Of course, absolutely. Racism
Yes.
is behind
Yeah, it
that.
includes
Of
some racism.
course.
It's like someone with blue eyes, and you may have teachers who an African teacher, and he will teach you great English.
Why
So
not? Of
yes,
course. Because
yeah.
and let me tell you something. For example, I have had once a student who reached out to me and said, "You know, I speak perfect English, but I want to improve my Spanish." And you know what I had to say? I'm sorry, but I'm not a Spanish teacher because I'm not. I'm a native speaker of Spanish, but I don't know how to teach that. I'm following
Yes.
some Spanish teachers, and I've seen like, oh my God, I didn't know that my language had so many things. I'm so glad
Hmm.
that I speak Spanish as my first language because it's complicated.
Yeah, I can
It's
teach Arabic as
complicated.
well. I can teach Arabic. I can't.
Exactly.
My mother language is My mother tongue is Arabic, but I can't teach it. I just
And
can't.
yeah,
It's not
exactly.
easy. Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, um, I love teaching English because I know the struggles. I know what it looks like to try to learn a language. I know what it looks like to try to learn specifically English when you have a Spanish background. I know that. And that's why I try to help my students to do so. Now, when people come to me with, this fixed mindset of having a native speaker of English as a tutor, I just ask them why. Like, why is it that because at times it's just things that are ingrained in our minds that we don't really know where they come from, And then when where our beliefs are challenged,
Mm-hmm.
then they say, oh, I get it. So now it makes sense, Like, in Mayu's
Yeah.
classroom, we're four teachers, and none of us
Mm-hmm.
are native speakers of English. And I am the only one who speaks English and Spanish because the other teachers, they speak French, Japanese, German.
Mm-hmm.
They have mastered the ability of learning languages. So come on, are you going to waste all that potential just because a person
Yes.
is not a native speaker of the language? As a matter
Yeah.
of fact, I can understand a lot better your struggles and what you go through because I've been a student myself. So
Yes.
how can you discredit all this just because
Mm-hmm.
of the fact that I'm not a native speaker of English? And some people may
Yes.
say, no, because of your accent or because of your pronunciation. That's not true because you can
Yeah.
have a great pronunciation. People can understand you. There can be intelligibility
And
and no
that's
problems
another
in
problem.
coming.
And that's another problem I want to speak about. They say that, or for beginners, they say that our problem is uh, why we don't speak, why we don't have the courage to speak, why we feel unsafe when we speak, is that because we think that our accent, which they call the accent, which is a
Mm-hmm.
big problem with many people, our pronunciation, our accent is not great. So we're afraid maybe if we speak, we may sound ridiculous. We may sound, people will laugh at us, and
Mm.
that's why people like are fascinated with native speakers because they see native speakers, this accent, this thing. Even if they see you speaking like them, they would not believe it. So, what do you think about this problem? Should we worry when we are beginners in the language on learning English? Should we worry about this problem of accent?
Mm. Well, I
Get the R
so
sound, the accurate R sound, get the correct intonation.
look, more than focusing, look, pronunciation is important, and I'm not going to say it is not, because look, I've tried to improve my pronunciation because I just love the way American English sounds. I love the
Mm-hmm.
sounds. I'm drawn to it. I love it. I love learning
Yes.
different sounds, and that's why I want to learn French because it's so different from Spanish, because it has so many beautiful, I don't know, sounds, new sounds, so
Yeah.
many challenging sounds.
It's
But that
music,
doesn't mean
It's like
it's like
music
music.
sound. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But when we focus on, look, pronunciation can become such a big deal that you don't even speak because you don't want to make a mistake. So you don't want
Mm-hmm.
to roll your R when you don't have to, because English doesn't have an R that rolls like that. You don't want to. So I think that it can interfere with fluency. So for me, the
Mm-hmm.
approach, especially at the beginning, yes, I teach some things that are important for clarity, because you want clarity, you want communication. But these
Mm-hmm.
things that do not interfere with communication are for a more trained ear. Let's put it like that. So a person who
Yes.
has been exposed to the language a lot more. I would never, ever start with a pronunciation lesson with my students because my focus is a communicative approach. So what I
Yes.
want you is to actually engage in conversation. And in order for you to do that, you don't need to have a perfect, if there's anything like a perfect pronunciation.
No.
You don't need
Yes.
that. You don't need
Yeah.
that. You just need to learn how to communicate. And for
Yeah.
that, the focus needs to be in the message and not necessarily in how you're putting your words together,
Yeah. It's
or
like
or
if you
the
say,
specific sounds.
if you say, for example, like car, people would understand that you're speaking about car. If you say car, If you say car, people will also understand, will still understand that you're speaking about a car, not a mouse or a cat. Okay,
Exactly.
see what I mean?
Especially if you look at the
So
context.
it doesn't
I
matter.
mean,
Why? If you say car, if you say car, it's pretty. People would understand. So why would you worry?
exactly. So that's what I teach my students and what I try to yeah, what I try to make emphasis on, that it's important
Yeah.
for you clarity, intelligibility, that you focus on the message and not necessarily all the words that you're putting together, because then you lose focus on trying to understand the other person because of the message and not
Hmm.
because English for me is a way for you to open. It's like a key to open many doors.
Yes.
And it's the door of
Absolutely.
knowledge, is the word of
Yeah.
culture, is the way of, empathy.
It's
That's
a
what English
plus.
means.
It's a plus in your life. It's a source of
Exactly.
enjoyment. You can, when you, for example, speak English, when you're just starting and you speak English and you enjoy this, the sounds, you enjoy the sounds, you enjoy how you speak. You are proud of yourself when you could speak like that. Of course, because that's a language that is not yours, and you could reach that level, you will be proud of yourself. So learning a language is enjoyment, is fun, is always fun, and I believe it should be fun.
Yes, I
Mm.
absolutely agree. That's why, at least in my Instagram page, you'll find many movies and songs, and because that's how I learned, and that's how I continue learning, and that's why what I enjoy. So, and
Hmm.
it gets to another conversation. It's like, what teacher should I choose to be my teacher? Because we have so many teachers here on Instagram, but it's actually the one that you
Hmm.
resonate with the most. Um, Teachers are usually
Yes.
passionate, and it's contagious. So when you click with a teacher and it's contagious, I mean, it's just, you get excited about learning because they are
Yeah.
excited. You
Energy.
so
Feel some type of
energy,
energy.
yes,
Yes. Yes.
exactly.
So if you can feel that energy, it means the teacher himself is interested in teaching you. He's not just doing it for money. He loves it. So if someone loves what he's doing, then you can expect great results. Uh,
Exactly.
this is it. I would like to speak about something different, like related to English learning, at this problem, pronunciation and accent. Um,
Mm.
what was the difference? Could you clarify this?
Sure. So,
Pronunciation, accent. Are we speaking
yeah,
about the
so
same thing?
not
Yeah.
really. So let's put it like this. This is how somebody once explained it to me, and it was really eye-opening. So imagine your pronunciation in general, as a set of tools, like different. So you have different sounds in your Arabic, for example. In
Mm-hmm.
Arabic, you have a specific set of sounds,
Yeah.
and those sounds are used, and they're put together in a way that it starts communication, right? That's how communication starts, when you put the sounds
Mm-hmm.
together and you say things. Now, when you're learning another language, there are other sets of sounds that you need to incorporate to your set of sounds that you had already.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
and it's inevitable that when you start speaking English, if you speak Arabic, you
Mm-hmm.
will you will use some of the sounds in the Arabic language, and you'll put them into the English language, because that's how our brain works. It
Mm-hmm.
associates things. So, for example,
Yes.
let's put an example in Spanish. In Spanish, we have only 5 vowel sounds. In English, there are 14, 15, some say 16 sounds. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So when I hear English and when I try to produce words in English, at the beginning, my brain is going to try to fit all these 15 different sounds in the only 5 sounds I know. So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
associate the a with a in my language, but the
Yeah.
with a as well. And they're different sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to say is that you have your own particular set of sounds, whether you speak Arabic or Spanish or whatever. where you come from, people use a certain set of sounds. And you need to add
Mm-hmm.
more to that beautiful set of sounds that you already have.
Yes.
Interference is going to happen. That means that some of the sounds that you have in your native language are going to, you're going to use them to
Effects.
try to, it
Yeah.
affects how you produce the sounds in
Yeah.
English. And that's okay,
Mm-hmm.
because English is a global language. So pronunciation and accent are not the same. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
afraid or ashamed of your accent. Your accent
Mm-hmm.
is part of who you are. It reveals where you come from. Nobody should be ashamed of where they come from. I'm not ashamed
Yeah.
of being Venezuelan. I'm not ashamed. Actually, that's my flag of victory, you know? Like, I
Yeah.
am a non-native
This is how
speaker
you
of
prove
English.
yourself. This is how you prove yourself. You know,
So
some
I
teachers
would
that
never
I was
be.
amazed when you told me the first time when I told you to give me an introduction to you, and you mentioned that you are a non-native. It's like you're proud of it. Some teachers they try to hide it. You know, they
Uh,
even change their names to look like they get American names. They name themselves John or something so that people would take their classes. And actually,
and
I
I
don't like
get it.
this. Yeah.
I have to be completely honest, and I'm opening my
Yeah.
heart right now with my personal story. I remember when I started my youth classroom, um, I was very afraid of people knowing that I wasn't a native speaker of
Yes.
English.
Mm-hmm. You had
Um,
this.
yeah, I had this problem
Mm,
because, and that's why I understand the struggle. I understand why somebody wants to have a native speaker of the language as a teacher, because I was one
mm,
of those. So I really get it. But I understood and I owned the place where I come from. And I'm proud of that. I am proud of being
mm-hmm,
a non-native English teacher. I don't really mind, but I had to go through a paradigm shift. If
mm-hmm,
not, then I would have never started my youth classroom, because my number one concern was that, oh, what would happen when people know that I'm not a native speaker of English? And then that turned into my superpower. I said, when they
mm,
know that, they would know what is possible for them. They are able to
yeah,
become teachers as well if they want it in the future. So
yeah,
me saying I am a non-native speaker of English is like, it's my sign of victory, at least for me. And it's
I
a
see,
sign that
I
can be
see.
used. I mean,
So it's like this is how you prove yourself. This is your,
yes, it's how I prove myself, and it's also how I empower other people to do the same.
mm-hmm,
Because being a non-native speaker of English doesn't make you any less of a good communicator.
yeah,
Not at all.
of course,
And
it
even
doesn't.
those you guys, you who are listening right now, who've been sticking with us all through this, this conversation, it is possible for you too. If you want, if it's in your goal, if it's in your dream to become an English teacher, it's possible for you. You don't need to tell yourself, oh no, because I'm not a native speaker, or because my pronunciation is not perfect. I bet there's something you can teach to other people. And if there's
Mm-hmm.
something you can teach, then do it.
Yours, yeah,
If it's your passion, if you want to do it, then just do it. Do
yeah,
it. Start
yeah,
however you can. That's what I did. I try to I try to separate myself from the fact that I wasn't I was telling myself many negative things, like you're not worthy, you're not good enough
yeah,
because you're not a
yeah.
native speaker of the language, and all these things
That's not your
that.
language. It's not your language.
Exactly. And there are many things you don't know. What happens when somebody asks you something that you don't know? What are you going to
Yeah.
answer? What is it?
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Nobody knows everything. Like, even if you have a native speaker of the language, they could say, hey, give me a sec. I don't really know what that is. Because even in my own language, there are times where when I started communicating to people here in Colombia, where I couldn't understand what they were saying, and we were speaking the same language, but it was the
Yeah.
cultural difference that didn't allow me to
Yes.
understand what they were saying.
Same
So you
here. The
get, you
same in
see,
my country. Yeah, same in my country. It's pretty normal. So I like this idea because we don't want like teachers to be copies. You know, teachers now are trying to do the same thing, like native speaker, native speaker. My name is John. My name is, they try to copy each other's experiences, and this is not really helping the learners. So every teacher has to have his own mark, has his own, has to be special to offer something new. Like, as you mentioned, like you're a non-native speaker, you're proud of yourself and you like what you're doing. And even people now, if they discover like you're non-native speaker, and they would love you more for that, okay? Because you,
Yeah, and just
yeah,
turning it's good for you. It's good for you to share your own
yes,
story. You don't need to copy
yeah,
anybody else's
of
story
course,
just to
yeah,
stand out. No, you'll
should
stand
be
out if
you,
you share
yeah,
your own, your own.
yeah,
I bet that there's somebody going through what you are going through right now that would say, "Hey,
yeah.
I resonate with that."
Yeah, back to the idea you mentioned, and I liked it, and I really agree with you, that our brains, when they learn a new language, or that when we want to learn a new language, our brains, they always go to what they have already, to the background they have, to the linguistic, to this linguistic background, to this linguistic vocabulary, expressions, grammar rules, how we link words, how we say words. So you gave the example of pronunciation. You link it to pronunciation, and I would like to link it to speaking in general. One of the problems learners face is that they translate in their heads. Okay, when they want to say something in English, they go back to their mother, to the mother tongue, and they take from it and they translate. And this creates sometimes an ambiguity, some type of not being understood, because you're using structures of another language in
Of
another
course.
language is English. Yeah. Is there anything you would recommend to overcome this problem of translating, or it's just time that will solve this problem?
Okay, that's a hard question, but I'm gonna give my take here.
Hmm.
Um, it's
It's not
natural for
easy.
you
It's not
to
easy, actually. Yeah.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
it's natural for you to translate. It's natural. At the beginning, that's what you do to survive an
Hmm.
English lesson, for example, um, because everything is in English. So you need to see, oh, so I understand this word, and this means this, and this word means this. So this might be the meaning of the sentence. So that's what you do at the beginning, and it's very helpful. It's not easy to tell your brain to stop doing something. Usually, when you tell your brain stop doing this, that's what you want to do the most.
Yeah.
So I
Stop
think
thinking
it's
about this. You will think about it.
exactly stop thinking about the red elephant in the room, and now you're thinking about the red elephant in the room.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
instead of focusing on it, you don't translate. Yes, make an effort to use the vocabulary that you have,
Hmm.
the vocabulary that's available for you. At the beginning, you are going to translate because that's what your brain is going to do. But the more you
Hmm.
practice and with time and conscious effort to express your ideas in English, it will come. It will come. You
Hmm.
have to expose yourself enough to the language, and you also have to make an effort to use the vocabulary you already have. Because unfortunately and fortunately, language learning is related to more than just words.
Hmm.
It's a culture that you immerse yourself in. It's the way they say things and structure things. It's because that's what matters
Yeah.
for them, you know?
Yeah.
So
It's
when you
culture.
try to it's cultural. So when you try to
Yeah.
translate, you lose so much of the beauty of
Yeah.
exposing yourself to new cultures, new ideas, new ways
Yeah.
of looking at the world.
Of course.
So for
Yeah.
example, for me, it's incredible how Arabic, it's they to me, you kind of write the other way around, and you have your own alphabet, and you do things differently. It would be crazy
Hmm.
for me to try make Arabic look like Spanish and then try to say something, because it'll take a lot of time. I would have to
Yeah.
like give me a second because I'm trying to say something, and then you can think of it in Spanish, and then try to translate it into Arabic, and then say it. And by the end of the conversation, you're just tired of me, and you don't want to keep talking because I keep translating, and we don't have a fluent conversation. So
Yeah.
don't miss out on the beauty of a language that's also cultural, that's also
Hmm.
yeah, that has a lot of its culture and its people ingrained in it.
Yeah. It
Don't
carries
take that
many
away.
things. It carries many things. The
Exactly.
language. It's not just words coming out of a mouth. It's many things. Heavy. It's
Yeah.
culture,
It's
religion. It's how people see things. How.
Yes, how they
history.
view the world. Yes,
Yeah,
and it's beautiful. It's exciting to step into that. And when you want to rely on translation, you usually want to when you rely on translation, you're kind of resisting that difference between
yeah,
your own language and the new language that you're trying to learn. So I think
and the
it's
target language,
both.
yes.
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
difficult.
Yeah,
It's what your brain is going to do at the beginning. It's a great resource, at least at the beginning, and
yeah,
that's it. Like you need to try
yeah,
to incorporate the
yeah, of
other
course.
language.
So, well, I'm just checking the clock, and it's been 1 hour. Can you imagine? Went very quickly. I really enjoyed the discussion with you. There are a lot of great ideas, and I'm sure that people are putting many hearts because they really liked this fruitful discussion. Thank you so much, Mayu, for your time,
Thank you for inviting
for
me.
this. Of course, it's my pleasure, and I would love to go again live maybe on your page next time.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So, anything you would like to say to people watching before we end this live?
I first of all, guys, I really want to thank you for being here, and I also want to tell you that if you're set your mind, if you put your mind into it, you can do it. So this
Yeah.
conversation that we're having here is two non-native English teachers. So
Yes.
imagine all the things that are
Yeah.
possible for you. You're a
Hmm.
non-native speaker of English. You can also accomplish this. So
Yes.
yeah, I guess those are
Yeah.
my final thoughts.
Thank you so much, Mayu, and have a great, I guess, afternoon in your country. Yes. And Mia,
Yeah.
have a great night. Yeah.
Then have a great night. Thank you,
Thank you
everybody.
so much. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye.
So, guys, that was it. The live with Mayu, a teacher from Colombia. I really hope that you enjoyed this discussion. Very fruitful, full of new ideas about learning English. Thank you so much. I will save this live, leave it saved for you to watch it later. Thank you, and have a good night.